What's up, Colin?
Make sure my phone's on vibrate.
We back in this bitch.
Hey, let's try this again.
Episode 33.
32B.
No, we're going with 33.
No, you did make that official. The 12-minute.
I did.
The 12-minute episode.
I said fuck it. I actually liked the dialogue that we had for that 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Yeah, but I just.
I know that we could have got into it a lot more.
Yeah, I got frustrated. I felt. I was thinking about the end of our conversation and about how I was like trying to make a profound point, and I was just aggravated because it was just kept getting louder and louder.
Yeah, you can see it visually too. So if you watch you're like, and like you can like see the frustration.
For real?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can see the frustration happening.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, that's shoot, man. I should watch that because it's funny because sometimes. Everyone's like, so my dad has like a work mode where he's just his mind is going, and like if you try to talk to him when he's like in the zone, it's like he's staring through you, like all he's doing is picturing what's in his head, you know what I mean? And so a lot of people, like I've lived with that, you know. I understand that. I was like, oh yeah, okay, Dad's in the zone. Don't fuck with him right now. He's focused. It's not like he's being an asshole. He's just focused. And but like he would do like this thing where he would like be like crouched over his computer, and I'd say something to him. He'd be like, and the way you just described me getting frustrated makes me think it's like that, because I get like that from time to time. I'm pretty good at controlling it. I get that like that from time to time where Sierra will be like, okay, Steve, you know, like. Where I've got that Steve Simula going, but
so it might be important to note for folks that we're not did not listen to 32 or don't have any context behind it. So we actually where we record the podcast is the same place that we have band practice. It's also a building dedicated.
This one's frozen.
I know, I noticed that. It's also dedicated to other bands that have practice. So every room is a different band. As you can imagine, it's extremely hard to find a time that at least one band isn't practicing. 5 p.m. on Sunday has been our golden time, and tonight we have...
There's like a thrash band.
A thrash band and a jam band.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. They're far enough away. I feel like they're upstairs or something.
But the whole thing was that we thought the band next door was done, so we got going. After sitting around, dicking around for 45 minutes waiting for them to be done. And it was like, what, 10:15 at that point? We assumed they had to be done.
Yeah.
And then we got 11 minutes in or whatever, and boom. Nope, they were just taking a break. So that was it.
We're going to power through this time, even if bands jam, which we hear bands jamming. So I set up the practice space a little differently. We have this blank wall with just a couple nails sticking out. I don't even know if those are showing up on the camera, but a couple nails sticking out.
Let's see.
Yeah,
that's there. Yeah. That's there.
I gotta take those out though. But one thing I just noticed, like, you know, we don't keep our phones around the device because it alerts. This handle on the side, it's like a fucking holster. I went down past it and turned it on, but it's like a fucking holster.
Let me see if mine does that.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's like a phone holster.
That's good.
Yeah, the problem is we're gonna be setting off the alien gear. Let's try it one more time. Oh man, dude, mine is. I need one of those things that's like it clips on here. It's on my mic stand.
That thing right there.
Yeah. I have one right back there. I have so much shit, but that's the. Look at this. This looks much nicer though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks great.
I'm feeling it. All right, let's get into this shit.
And if you're just listening to this, none of that mattered.
No, but you could, by all means,
I was just pointing.
Go to the YouTube and check it there, because I never promote the YouTube. I don't know if you do anything.
I don't.
Yeah, I put it there just as another means in case somebody were to search it. It's on there, right?
Yeah, I'm not good at promoting anything really.
Do you want to go back into the?
Yeah, we'll get
Boomer?
there. We'll get there. We'll get there. I don't know that I want to jump right back in.
Why not? Pick up right where you left off, man. And okay, we don't have to. I see. I don't want to trigger you. I don't want to trigger you at fucking four minutes into the podcast.
No. It's fine. It's fine. It's I'm just trying to think of what we were talking. Oh yes, because I saw that tweet. The tweet that was like somebody was just like, you know, feels like millennials have not had a chance to really make our case as to why, especially our us older millennials and younger Gen Xers like you, because I think you're kind of if I'm already in that kind of zennial spot, you're like 1 or 2 years older than me, right? So anyway, so like people our age it's just really crazy to think that we were just kind of hitting our stride as far as, working. Was that man?
I couldn't tell you.
We're
powering through today though. we're powering through no matter what today.
No, but it's like people our age, in 2008, I was 25 years old when the crisis hit.
Okay. I
was about 2 years into my actual professional career. I was working at a design agency. I had I had benefits and a 401k and stuff like that. And we had just bought our first house. We had just bought a condo, which was the reason for the fucking crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we were just entering adulthood. We had just had a kid. It's like, this is the point in adults' lives where it's like rubber's hitting the road hard. And then we had the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree that I feel like the impact that has had on our generation is not talked about nearly enough. Yes, we know about all the boomers and the older Xers that lost fuck tons of money. Yeah, we all know that. We all know people who lost their jobs, who lost their houses, and stuff like that. But then it was like, you don't take into account, like, it took us 3 years to sell our condo because of how crazy things were after the recession.
I didn't realize it had been that long. I knew that you had it.
Yeah.
And I knew that you were trying to sell it. I saw posts and things like that.
Yeah, we tried and tried and tried for a couple of years, and then we gave up. And we rented another house and rented it out. And honestly, it had I not wanted to get it off my books so bad, it was a good investment. I mean, we had bought it dirt cheap, and we had renters lined up around the block for like way more than I would ever pay to rent a place.
Yeah.
But it just was such a constant stressor on my life at that point. And
why is that? Like in the age where like that's everybody's, it feels like that's everybody's goal nowadays is like get rental properties or flip houses or go into real estate. Like, why was it such a stressor?
Well, it was the problem is the fact that it was a condo, and it was a duplex condo. So it was there's a lot of rules around that were enacted after the crisis around selling condos. And so it was honestly, it was just tons of bureaucratic red tape that people had to jump through. So nobody was interested. People would come like, oh yeah, this is great. And there was a couple points where they had made offers and we had gone down the road, but then there's just all these legislative hoops. That's all like, there was, we had to like create a condo association because the previous owners didn't.
Okay.
It was originally just a house that was divided in half.
And then
when they sold it, they made it into condos with
so
individual.
They can sell each side.
Yeah. So, but there was things that weren't done. Like there wasn't individual water meters, and there wasn't, there were certain individual things that we had to end up building a fence to divide it down the back so we could have like a private backyard, and we put sod and
Dude, I'd have put some fucking sticks in the ground and some string.
We just did all of this stuff to make it appealing to people. Yeah. And we ended up in the end, after frustratingly leaving it and just renting it for a year, we ended up selling it to a friend of a friend who just happened to, like, her dad was a lawyer and her uncle owned a credit union. So it was like we were able to jump over those big hoops, and so it ended up, in the end, it worked out, but it took forever, and it was just so much stress on us. Because it was just like it was just another thing. It's like, oh, there's $1,500 for a fence. Oh, there's, such and such to get the flashing on the chimney fixed because this house was built in 1920. It was just like all of this. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. Oh, we got to figure out this whole situation with the water. Oh, sorry, neighbor, who's also one of our good friends. Because of these stupid things, we have to institute a condo association fee. We have to force that upon our neighbor, who was one of our best friends.
Yeah, but does it have to be like? It doesn't have to be a lot.
No, it didn't have to be a lot, but it was just her mom owned her half, and she lived in Cleveland, so we had to do all of it. It was just way too much.
It sounds like a lot.
All that to say is, we're not the only ones who had that story. We're not the only kids in our mid-20s who bought houses dirt cheap when things were looking good because of the greed of our parents' generation. And then we're unable to either make our money. I mean, we ended up surprisingly making, I don't know, 10 or 15 grand on it. I was long resigned to coming in the negative on it. I totally thought that was going to happen. So, there's silver lining, but the bigger picture here is that, I'm 36 years old and I make a good amount of money, and Sierra works and she makes not a good amount of money, but at least she's working too and making money too. And, we're still perpetually behind. It's still very rare that it feels like, wow, we're out ahead. We just have extra pile of money here that we can fuck around with. It's just like,
yeah, but a lot of that is it's society. Like, it's
Totally.
how we're always wanting that little bit more. We always just want that next thing. So when we get the means to do that, we get that next thing. Dude, me and my wife have this conversation all the fucking time. Like, our mortgage payment at our new house is almost 3 times as much as our last mortgage payment was.
Whew.
Yeah, let that sink in. Yet somehow we are doing it just fine. And over there at our last house, like, I don't know, I felt like we lived the exact same way. Like, there's nothing that has really changed. And it shows you that, like, if you really want, you can dedicate that time and that resources, and you'll find the way to put the money to it and live comfortably. But, like, holy shit, what I wouldn't give to go back to that mortgage payment. We could each, and I joke, I always say this to her, I'm like, we could each drive a Lamborghini. Like, if we just had that mortgage payment again, we would each have a good $1,000 car payment.
It is interesting because, I am not in any way saying that it's all out of our control. I mean, we were the ones who made the choice to, use loans and credit to make ends meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were the ones who chose to have 3 kids in our 20s. We were the ones who, I got this current job and got a significant raise when I got this job from my last.
And just changed your living. And I bet.
And within 2 months, we both had new car payments.
Yeah.
And there is that part of it is, growing up poor. When you had money, you spent it because you didn't know when you're going to have money again.
Well, there's 2 things to that, right? So I know people just the opposite. They grew up poor, and so they're fucking terrified of being poor, and then they hoard money and they freak out, and they'll have, 15, 20 grand in the bank, and they're still just like, oh no, we can't spend this $200 to go do this thing. And I'm like, you got 20 grand in the bank. Like, what the fuck? What's the problem? So I know people on both sides of the fence. I am very frivolous with money. If I want something, I'm going to get that thing. My wife is even worse than me. Like, I can't tell you the number. I think I have told you this. The number of days I come home and there's like Amazon packages.
Yeah.
Or now that
we're the same.
Now that my fucking doorbell works 100% of the time, all day long, ding, I see on my phone, it's like someone's at your door. I'm like, oh. And then you get the notification because Nest tells you a package was left. I'm like, of course it fucking was. So
your Nest tells you package was left?
Dude, it can recognize that somebody set a package down. And then if somebody comes and gets that package, it says a package was retrieved.
Why doesn't mine tell me that?
Do you have Nest Aware?
Yeah. Maybe I just need to turn some switches on my account.
Yeah, you probably need to turn it on.
No, but and I, like I said, it's not out of our control. Not all of it. Some of it is. I just feel like we were the cards our generation was dealt was less than ideal and was only made worse. And we have been forced to be creative to get out of that. And but
I can see that.
It is interesting though. Last month we had, in October's always the worst one. For some reason, October is always like 5 weeks. So like paychecks are always more spread out and all this stuff. And
you get paid like bi-weekly or something?
I get paid monthly and it sucks ass.
But budgeting.
Yeah, dude. But it's interesting because last month we had some unexpected expenses come up. I had stuff with my Jeep, the fridge, some other things, and we were fucked last month. And it was one of those deals like, holy shit, we have a week and a half left until I get paid. How are we going to make it? Like old school. Like we hadn't been in that spot in a long time. And I got to say, after we got paid, I was like, we still got it. We still got that frugality, the poor kid frugality, to stretch a dollar like way farther. It's like good to know that, we may have kind of gotten away from that in our general lifestyle, but good to know when it really counts, we can still do it.
Yeah. Every once in a while we'll get we'll get a wild hair up our ass where I'm like, let's try and save money this check.
Yeah.
We're going to have pasta tonight. And then you look at like pasta, dude, pasta's a fucking $1.
Yeah.
For a box. You buy sauce. I'll even spring for the good sauce. Fuck it. Give me the $5.49, like the mids sauce, right? Get that.
Mids.
You know what's crazy is I didn't mean it like that.
Man, this sauce is loud.
I didn't mean it like that. It's actually called mids.
Oh man.
Legit brand.
That's funny.
It's the best fucking best traditional meatless on the market, in my opinion. Anyway, I'll buy that. It's all said and done. I get fed. I get a few other things. Get garlic bread. When it's said and done, it's like $13.
Yeah.
And it feeds the whole house, and we're like throwing pasta away.
Now it was funny this week because we're having a broke week and we're going on vacation later this week. And so we were trying to save money. So I was like, I'm going to get some meals for the week. And I went to the grocery store and I texted Sierra and I was like, I got like 3 days worth of meals that are going to produce leftovers for like $45. And Sierra's like, sweet. And I was like, granted, they are the struggle meals. It was like spaghetti. It was like spaghetti one night. It was like taco night one night because that's super cheap. And then it was like frozen French fries and hot dogs. Like chili dogs. And
what's crazy is like you call them struggle meals. That's like on the weekly menu. Like we just
no, I mean it is on us
because
too.
When you're I sound like a broken record here, but when you have a vegetarian in the house and you're looking for things that can satisfy everybody, we'll do chili cheese dogs. We use the Angus beef hot dogs for me and Hayden and Eloise if she participates, and then Amy gets those Morningstar like veggie dogs. Boom, that's a meal. Again, pasta, that's a meal because either add meat or don't add meat. Shit like that. So those.
It's funny too because I'll be like, the kids will be like, what's for dinner tonight? And be like, we're having hot dogs and fries. And Beatrice will be like, did you get brats? And I was like, what do I look like? I'm made of money?
That's
she always
crazy.
wants brats.
She eats brats?
She barely like stomachs hot dogs because she only wants brats. It's really funny.
Do you get to like mystery dogs or like chicken, turkey, pork?
I just get fucking ballpark Franks. I don't give them.
But are they beef?
Yeah, but usually.
All beef?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what the fuck, man? Those are good. I feel like those are good.
I did learn this week that Giant Eagle has King's Hawaiian flavored hot dog buns.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Those are really good. They also have, what the fuck? They have something else. I get the King's Hawaiian bread. I actually made French toast this morning with the King's Hawaiian bread, and it's thick cut, and you can buy it in a half loaf. So, like, it's basically, I make a half loaf of French toast in the morning.
So, this is making me wonder because, having 3 kids, it is really, really hard to make them happy when it comes to dinner. And so, we have a rule in our house. It's like, well, if you don't finish your dinner, that's fine. You're not going to die, but you're also not eating anything else tonight. You know, you don't get snacks or anything later. So it's like, fuck it. If they're not going to eat it, that's what I made for dinner. So it's not like I'm like specifically tailoring to everybody. I do tailor a little bit to Miles because he doesn't like meat that much, and he likes veggies more than the other kids. But I can push and pull on recipes to do that. But is there anything that you make in your house that is always a win? Like that no one's going to complain. I mean, Hayden doesn't seem like a food complainer, but
he's getting more so. It's starting to, and he gets passive aggressive with it. He goes, "Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't pick that, but I'll eat it." I'm like, oh, okay. You know why you wouldn't pick that? Because you don't fucking have money to buy food, so of course you wouldn't pick that. Nah. Honestly, cheesy pasta. So like ravioli, with like some kind of tri-cheese or something in it, a good sauce. And then the other day we actually had something similar. And then, we just had pasta. We didn't have the cheesy wrap, but honestly, anything pasta goes over great in our house. Like Eloise loves it. Hayden loves it. Everybody loves it. And the other day I did brown a pound of ground beef and throw it in with me and Hayden. So maybe Eloise too.
Yeah, I mean, spaghetti usually works in my house.
And chili cheese dogs.
But I have to like set aside a little bit of the sauce before I put the meat in it.
Oh yeah,
for miles and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I do. I actually layer the pasta. So I do the pasta, and usually we use like feta cheese. I'll put feta cheese all through it. I put meat, and then I put pasta on top of it. I stir it, and then put a little more sauce, and then I never actually introduce the the meat into the sauce. I do it in the bowl.
Interesting. Yeah, I do like white trash style, just a big vat.
That's what I would like to do.
But
because I want all that fat and grease.
No,
and shit.
in my house, and it's surprising because it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I make it, I never eat it. I always just eat something else. But always a win is breakfast for dinner. If I make like pancakes and eggs, like pancakes and scrambled eggs, oh my God, the kids are asking for thirds. I mean, it's crazy.
Hayden did ask for seconds today. He ate 4 pieces of French toast.
Nice.
Yeah, he put the shit away today. I wasn't expecting it. I was like making my French toast because Dad's like we make everybody else's food and then make ours last type shit.
Yeah.
So like I'm flipping it off the stove, putting it on the thing, and he's like, "Could I have seconds?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck. I guess you can have mine. Like, I'll just make me some more." We're not okay. I'm gonna go back to the money thing because we started to glaze over it, and I had a good story that I'm curious if your wife does anything similar because I'm about to bitch about mine. Shout out to my wife. So she's not frugal at all. Like when it comes to money, spends lots of money. That being said, she won't spend money sometimes, or just is too lazy to spend money, I guess, on certain things. Like in this case, it's the windshield wipers. Did you see the fucking picture?
No.
Oh my God. So a couple weeks ago, I posted a picture when I was on my way to take her car to get an oil change and wipers. Okay. Not a big deal. I'll just run through somewhere. I get in the car, try to hit the washer fluid, to get the salt and shit off the window. No washer fluid. Okay. I'm like, well, fuck. I hit the wiper. Half of the wiper, like, wipey blade thing, that little silicone strip, is just flapping, hanging off. I'm like, all right, cool. I get in. There's hardly any gas. The tire pressure sensor light is on. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm embarrassed to even take this car in and say it needs all this shit. But I'll have to show you the picture. I'd say my visibility was like 20%. Like, I could tell where cars were because of lights.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I'm glad I wasn't going any more than 2.2 miles away from my house to get it resolved. I pulled in and I rolled the window down. The guy's like, "How can I help you?" I'm like, first of all, man, let me explain something to you. I have a wife. Second of all, this is her fucking car. So don't judge me.
You were trying to remove all culpability.
Yeah. I was like, don't judge me for what I'm about to say. But she needs air in her tires, windshield wipers, fluid, probably all the fluids, anything that you can top off. And she needs an oil change. I think she's like, 8,000 over. And then I looked and she wasn't actually 8,000 over. My wife only drove like 8,000 in a year. That's crazy. Like, how far do you drive in a year?
A lot.
Yeah, dude, my shit's in like the 15, 16.
No,
it's crazy.
It's funny. I was actually just talking with my friend because he works for an auto auction. So he has like access to, like, he can like pull the VIN and like get like market stuff about your car and things like that. And because we were talking about getting rid of the Pilot while, strike while the iron's hot, it's got 165,000 miles on it. And
they're good for 3.
Yeah, for sure. But he showed me the report, and the average 2011 Honda Pilot has 92,000 miles, which is
wait, what year is it?
2011.
Okay.
And the average mileage on a 2011 is 92. And we have 165.
Damn.
It had 107 when we got it. So we got it in 2016.
Okay. So about 3 years.
Almost 4 years. The beginning of 2016. And we've put like 60,000 miles on it.
That's not bad. That's about what I do. 15, somewhere between 15 and 17.
I put a decent amount on my Jeep too. I got my Jeep around the same time.
That's why I can't lease.
Probably put 30,000 on it.
You get like no miles for a lease.
Yeah.
If you've ever
I've thought about leasing, but I also tend to be the kind of guy who trashes his shit.
Yeah.
So, in general, I'm not like I was watching you last week, like open your Ibanez guitar case that was like pristine.
Wow.
It's like my shit is just fucking thrashed, man.
And other guitar cases are. That one was kind of clean because like what the fuck I have a road case and I have other cases to carry shit in. Like what do you actually have in your guitar case?
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like it can't really be thrashed because it was brand new. I've only probably used it as a case 10 times. You know, there's no reason for it to be thrashed yet. Like in the old days, like you carried every fucking thing in your guitar case. It was like the only case we had. Nowadays we have like road cases and fucking, you know.
When I was in Symphony Apparel, I had a Pearl export drum kit.
Oh yeah.
It was, not a good drum kit, but not a bad one. But it had, it was wrapped. The shells were wrapped.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
And no, that's stained. But I never had the money to get cases. I was 19, 20 years old. The band bought me the drum kit, and I was a stupid kid who didn't give a shit about it anyway. And the just being in and out of the trailer in cold, hot, in, out, move around, all that stuff. That shit. Like the shell like started just cracking and falling off. So there was like some of them were like light birch colored and some were red. And I was practicing this. This was a couple years later. I was in Kingsblood and I was practicing. And Mark Evans comes to practice one night, and he was like, "Dude, I have a drum kit in my basement that I got for a couple $100 like 10 years ago that never gets played. It's a Yamaha Stage Custom, red." Like basically the same kit, just better. He goes, "I'm just gonna give it to you." He's like, "You can't play these."
That's crazy.
So he just gave me a 3-piece kit.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah.
What a good guy. I didn't know he did that.
That's a drum kit I played ever since. It's in my basement. It's not set up. It's in my basement right now.
No shit.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very nice guy.
That's crazy.
When he wants to be.
What a good guy.
When he wants to be.
I was giving him shit the other day because he set his big kit back up instead of his small kit.
It's a monster.
It is a fucking monster, but I think he wants to start another band to kind of help out with rent in here because the rent's expensive, and it's just basically one band, and then Jordan, and then one other guy, that bass rig right there, and that guy, if I'm not mistaken, got accepted to Berkeley.
Nice.
So he's going to be out of here like first quarter next year. All right, so I'm going to talk about this because I was trolling around the internet and I came across something that blew my fucking mind, but this is such a America thing. This is an America problem, right? I found this thing called Hitchbot. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's actually a really cool thing. So these people developed this robot, a hitchhiking robot.
Okay.
And it made its way like all the way across Canada. No problem. People would like pick it up, drop it off at random spots, fucking whatever. They configure it to travel across the US. That motherfucker got to Philadelphia and got jumped. It got jumped and decapitated. It made like one stop or saw like one or two things. Let me fucking pull this thing up real quick because I took a couple notes. Where did it go here? It says it's from Port Credit, Ontario. In summer of 2014, it hitchhiked across Canada from Halifax, Nova Scotia to Victoria, British Columbia in 26 days. Okay? 19 rides, 10,000 kilometers. 2015, it visited Germany. So Munich, Berlin, Hamburg, bunch of other places. Went to the Netherlands. And then it goes to Philadelphia and gets decapitated.
Of course.
Like, what the fuck, man? This is why we can't have nice things.
Nope.
It's a perfect example. But I just thought that was fucking cool.
It was like all those scooters. I mean, my God. The big issue was people like throwing them in the ocean and like hanging them from light poles and setting them on fire. It's actually they make fun of that in the current season of Silicon Valley. Do you watch that show?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so it's a
satire.
A funny. It's a Mike Judge show, so it's like Office Space basically in Silicon Valley. So it's all tech bro jokes and hilarious show, hilarious. But the current season, this guy in the fucking their company, he like rides up on a bird scooter, jumps off of it, and just throws it in the trash can.
Did you see DMC Kyle? Do you see his fucking Instagram?
No.
There was like people. I'm guessing this was OSU. Car flipped upside down. He's
yesterday?
Like, yeah, he's like fucking filming it, and he's like, "Y'all need Jesus," and he's like showing it, and there's like people kicking the door off and standing on top of it. Well, I don't know. Do you say?
I feel like it's been a while since that's happened.
No, man, this was like fucking yesterday.
No. I'm saying in general.
Oh, yeah,
it's been a while since like there's been that kind of game riot on campus.
It's a whole new.
I didn't watch the game though. I think it was a big win though against Penn State. I mean, it's a big game.
Fuck so. I know.
I know we won, but I think it was a good win. I didn't watch it though.
I don't do the.
I didn't do shit yesterday.
I don't do that.
I didn't do shit.
You gotta be really fucking partying. Like, I said it then, and I'll say it now. Like, 20-year-old me, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, fuck
oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Flip
dude.
that fucking car.
Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
I'd have my sidekick out, and I'd be like taking photos to post on AIM or some shit. Like, I'd be doing something with it. So I'm like, whatever. 37-year-old me, I'm just like, you fucking assholes.
Like, is you entitled piece of shit?
You piece of
Your parents did not raise you right.
Who the fuck is gonna pay for that? Whose insurance is gonna pay for that? Yeah, so totally different mindset.
I remember that last really big one. I think it was probably 20. It was like 15, 16 years ago. The last like really big one I remember. It was when there was still that bar. It was before Campus Gateway existed, and there was still that wild bar at like 12th and High or 11th and High, right by Taco Bell. They had like the windows that open. I remember hanging out with a couple of my bandmates, and it was like, I don't know, 2003 or something like that, and we saw that on the news that there was like fucking riots happening, and we were at my house in Victorian Village, and we could hear it. So we were like, fuck it, man, let's go to Taco Bell. And I remember we went up there and we just sat in line. We were just like watching, filming with our flip phones. And I mean, it was like riot police, like walking down High Street, like in a row with shields. There's smoke coming over here, smoke over here. People throwing trash cans and newspaper boxes. I mean, it was wild, man. And I fucking loved it. But now, yeah, it'd be like, I just want my fucking chili cheese burrito. Can I please just move this along? You
just said flip phone, which reminded me. Did you see they brought the Razor back?
Yeah. We talked about this a lot at work this week because the foldable screen still feels like a gimmick.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see. I think this will be the big one. I know it's already existed, but I think this will be the
goddamn straight it as, baby. You know my guys in Samsung do everything first.
Attaching the Razor name to it is what's going to make it beyond a gimmick, I think.
Well, they also
2 years from now, Apple's got a foldable iPhone, guarantee it.
They also they have a hell of a support model. Like, I think that's where they excelled over Samsung. Is Samsung, they'll replace the screen once for like a nominal amount, and then after that, it's very fucking expensive. I want to say Razer signed up to replace them indefinitely for like a very small amount or something like that, which is like, that was a big thing in the tech world.
Interesting.
So yeah, what would it take for you to have to flip a car, Colin?
Nowadays, flip a car?
Yeah, nowadays, what's it going to take to get you to flip a car? Would it take a 99 pack of PBR?
Maybe.
I thought that was fucking photoshopped when I saw that picture.
Nope, that's real, dude. They sold the place, like the places. I think it was in Minneapolis. It was in Minneapolis, something like the one that they started the article about, the first article that went viral about it. They sold out in like a couple days, and it's funny. I think the 99 pack is funny. I think it's a funny gimmick.
Yeah.
As somebody who was formerly a huge PBR guy, I'm not really anymore. It just doesn't make me feel very good. But I think it's a funny idea, and I think it'd be hysterical to walk into your house with a 7-foot long fridge box.
Well, the problem is when I'm carrying a 12 pack sometimes, those flimsy ass cardboard things rip. They fucking spill everywhere. Like how
I don't
on
know.
earth?
Yeah, I don't know how the physics of it work, that it doesn't just snap in half. the cardboard. But anyway, I think the gimmick's funny, but then you do the math and it does not add up because it is 99 beers for $99. It costs $99.
Well, you're paying for the novelty.
I'm aware of that, but if you do the math on this, a 30-pack of PBR is $17.99. A 18-pack is $9.99. So 3 30-packs and an 18-pack is 108 beers for $64.
Yeah, but who wants all those individual cartons? You pay for the fun. You pay for the convenience.
I get it. You're paying for the joke. I get it's because it's a joke. It's a ridiculous joke.
Well, there also has to be, because I assume they're not going to go into crazy mass production of these.
No way.
There's going to be, machine costs and things like that just will never be scalable up to where it's profitable for them unless they keep the cost.
No, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But it's just, guys, it's PBR.
Yeah, that is fucking awesome though. I would love to. It's like we should have got one just for the podcast.
Do you have?
I'd like mount it up here.
When you said what would it take 99 PBRs to make you flip a car? Do you have a drunk alter ego that only comes out with certain drinks or with certain types of drinks or a certain amount of drinks?
Oh yeah, it's tequila for me. And it's when I get drunk from multiple shots of tequila. Like one shot of tequila, I'm okay. If I drink, let's say I'm drinking like we call them Patronas, which is like you get a Patron and a Corona. I'll do a shot of Patron, drink the Corona. If I do that and I've had, I don't know, 4 shots of tequila, I'm probably fighting somebody.
Huh. Does this persona have a name? Has anybody ever given? I mean, Jeff, you already have Jeff money, so I mean, yeah. The reason I bring this up is because we have so my best friend Chris, he's got an alter ego named Chips that I've never really figured out what alcohol it is that makes it happen, but I think it's just right place, right time, right attitude. But he just gets really for instance, our in my house I have that wall in between the kitchen and the living room that doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. Yeah, he'll climb that. You know what I mean?
He's a wild boy.
He's like that kind of, or he gets extra confrontational, but not in an asshole way, but in a trying to get under your skin kind of way. Okay. And we're like, oh, okay, there's Chips, and I feel like everybody's got a persona like that.
So who gave him the name Chips though?
It was Sierra. I don't know why I think it's we called him that because I don't know why actually, but
Mark has Marquand.
Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. There's certain the Sierra doesn't have a name, but it's generally tequila with her too, where she gets wild.
Yeah, I get it. I start want to do hood. You can talk to any of my bandmates. Anytime we go play a show, if I get to a certain level and I start getting real testy with the lip, they're all like, all right, we got to reel this guy in.
I got another friend that I'll keep her actual name secret. But she gets extra confrontational in a not nice way, and we call her Bam Bam. And
I have a friend who's a girl. We call her the Spitting Cobra. And I saw her double foot drop kick someone.
Whoa!
Yeah, she ran and did the wrestling move, and it's a girl that by look you would never think that she's rowdy like that. She's just pretty normal. Yeah, Spitting Cobra, dude. She starts going and spitting. I don't know why so much saliva gets created when she gets hammered, but she'll just be spitting and gets real angry and confrontational.
Oh man, you're talking about your wife, right?
No,
I'm kidding.
No. She's just Mexican.
We can,
and by default violent, right? That's why we're trying to keep them all out of the country. They're all fucking, what is it, rapists and criminals?
Okay. We recently christened mine. His name is Whiskey Dad.
Whiskey Dad.
We realized that the nights, and I do get this way if I've had a fuck ton of cheap beer, which Sierra and I got into a fight at a show last weekend.
We were going to talk about that last time.
We were. That was a similar type of dad, but whiskey dad, it's generally, if I drink a bunch of whiskey, it's one thing. Like the other night, hanging out at my house, we were listening to records and had a fire going, and I had like a half bottle of whiskey, but it was like sitting around the fire, so it's not like you're not like being wild, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it didn't really hit, but I also wasn't mixing it with anything. If it doesn't matter if it's beer before liquor before beer, any of that. If there's two of them together, if there's 2 to 3 glasses of whiskey involved, my like time and space is erased. I don't quite black out, but it's one of those things where it doesn't like come back to you until like 4 p.m. the next day. Like, oh shit, that's why that guy was so pissed, And I just get really spicy. I get really loud and really easily excitable.
Did you use the word boisterous?
Boisterous.
I feel like you used that to describe this.
Boisterous is the best description, probably. Is Sierra will be like, she'll look at me from across the room, she'll be like, bring it down. Like she'll like mimic, like mime, like bring it down. Like, because I just, it's like, like when you tell a group of children to be quiet and they're quiet for like 30 seconds and it like slowly gets louder. Yeah. Like that's how I am. Whiskey dad. And so.
Well, that's also why you need the volume knob tattoo.
Exactly. Yeah. And
we gotta make that happen, dude.
So we recently named this. I mean, this persona's been around, but we recently named this persona, and it's pretty funny. It was funny because last week we went to go see Torch, and I was super stoked to see him. It's funny because I had seen him like 3 months earlier, but they're on another smaller tour and they're playing Ace of Cups, and I love seeing them at small venues. So we got a babysitter and all that. And I was just doing stuff around the house, raking leaves, doing dishes, laundry, and stuff like that. So I started drinking Coors Banquets at like 2 and didn't look back. And
what the fuck is a Coors Banquet?
It's the Coors in the yellow can. Or they also come in those little stubby bottles like Red Stripe.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm familiar in the bottle.
Coors Light sucks, but Coors Banquet is the bomb.
All right, not to derail you. I just
no. It's a good cheap, easy drinker beer. I kind of replaced PBR with that. It's kind of along the same lines as like Hilltop, like that kind of little bit more elevated cheap beer.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. It's like the OG Coors basically. And anyway, I started drinking those by like 2, and I don't know, probably at 6 or 7. By the time my buddy came to show up to go to the show, and then went to the show and drank like 1,000 Hilltops. I don't know how many to drink. And Sierra at the show, I met her at the show, and she was like, I don't know, I was probably 2 beers in when she dropped her first. Don't get any more. She reads me better than anybody because we've been together forever. She knows when I'm across the line. And she was like, "You're done." And I was like, I'm fine. And then ordered 10 more. I don't know fucking how many I drank. And dude, there was one point where we were sitting outside and we were talking, and I still don't know, and she doesn't know. Nobody knows. I don't know what made me so upset. But I got really, really, really upset. Emotionally mad. Like to the point where I was like, with Sierra, and I don't know why. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't. And I was like, I'm gonna go watch the bands. And I remember like getting up and walking inside, like walking away. And I don't do that. I'm the kind of person that like, if I'm fighting with you, we're staying here until it's done. And I was like, I can't. And I went inside, and I remember standing there like feeling almost teary, like so fucking mad. And then like that happened again. And I guess I said a bunch of shit that didn't make sense. Like, I can't believe you would have said that about me. And like, I have no idea. And my buddy Chris was like, he comes up to me, he goes, "What's going on?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, such and such is texting me saying, please help. They're fighting and I'm sitting in between them." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's fine. It's fine." And then like, seriously, like the next morning I got up and Sierra came down when she got up, and I was like, "I am so sorry." I was like, "I have no idea. I still have no idea." She goes, "I have no idea either." Because she was drunk enough too that it didn't help, but it was just, I was just a fucking spicy boy, man.
Spicy boy.
Wild. So yeah, lots of cheap beer or heavy whiskey drinking gets me fucking fired up.
Have you guys learned in your, was it 12, 13 years of marriage. How long are you guys married?
We have been married for 2020 will be 13 years.
Have you guys learned how to fight? Like, you said you like to sit there until like an argument or a situation it needs to be resolved. So you're going to stand there till it's resolved type thing. Have you guys learned that balance of fighting?
A little bit. It's we don't fight that often. Mm-hmm. We just don't. We really see, for one, we really see eye to eye. And I'm not saying any of this to make it sound like we're the model couple, because we're definitely not. But in general, we see eye to eye about stuff. In general, we're both we know each other. We've been best friends since we were 19. You know what I mean? So we know each other. Like we see around corners. Like I know where this conversation's going.
So you guys just kind of take a step back and come back and discuss it later or something?
So but when we do have the knockdown, drag them outs, which happens, I would say once every 4 or 5 months, we have a real bad one, which generally ends with me sobbing. I'm just a big crier. But it does get to that, that point where we haven't learned still, what I mean? Where it's like, all I'm wanting to do is prod and say, no, why? We are figuring this out, blah, blah, blah. And all she wants to do is shut down.
Oh, man. And I feel like we're in exact similar situations. I was going to ask you for advice, but it sounds like...
No. I don't have advice. The only advice I have is, and this was during our marriage counseling, or premarital counseling. Mm-hmm. Like the pastor at our church married us, and he was intimately involved in our lives anyway. And so we had he and his wife did special premarital counseling where we met a couple times a week and just talked about the hard stuff. It wasn't like typical Christian going through a book kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. We talked about how our fighting style was no, we are not, I am not going to budge until we're fucking done with this. And we came up with a strategy back then. And we don't pull it out like we used to. Like the first couple of years, we actually said it out loud. It was called time out or something like that. And it was we need to take 5 to 15 minutes, just set it down, walk away, collect ourselves, come back, and then talk about it like human beings. It works. It really does. Now, in theory, but in practice, it's hard to get to that point. When you're at a point where it requires walking away, it's really hard to walk away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I won't say we're that good at it anymore. At first we were.
I'm really bad with always feeling like there needs to be a resolve.
Yeah.
So that's like my, I'm gonna pull some fucking agile development into this. But are you familiar with the term Elmo?
No.
Enough. Let's move on. It's like when an agile team can't seem to fucking agree on anything. There's actually cards that have Elmo on them, and you hold it up and say, I'm calling Elmo on this. And then it needs another conversation outside of this forum. It's not being productive. She's good with that. She can just, she can go, obviously we're not going to agree on this. She recognizes it way before I do. And I'm like, no, I don't like not fully understanding something. And I feel like I don't understand. So I need to still talk about it. So, I don't know. I guess everybody has their quirks.
Yeah, that's interesting. That kind of, just, hey, drop it. Or that producer Kenny Beats has his whole thing is dots. Don't overthink shit.
Oh man, I'm feeling that.
Yeah,
I like
that. Has to do with music creation and production, but the same idea is don't put more brain power to it than you need to, because if you do, that's when you start twisting shit.
That's true. That's why my band has a song that we've been working on for 5 months that we can't seem to write one part. We need 20 seconds of a song and we can't seem to write something that fits because we overthink it. Colin, what is Colin's car listening solution? I love when you put things on here because I genuinely do not know what the fuck it means. And I'm like, I can't wait to ask about this.
So it's funny too, because the solution to this problem is, hey, Colin, it's been 2 years. Just get a new fucking radio in your Jeep.
Yeah.
That's the solution.
It's not even that. It's not even, hey, Colin, get a new stereo. It's, hey, Colin, I've offered you my stereo. That's
And
in my.
so is my best friend.
I have one in my garage that I actually moved from my last place. That still I don't know what I'm doing with because it's not like it goes in my car.
Yeah, I know. But you know,
on camera, next pod, I'm fucking bringing it and I'm gifting it to you. I'm gonna bequeath upon you.
But so I was listening. So that, you know, when you're sitting in the car and you just have your phone, especially in a Jeep because it's really loud, there's no solution to listening to music that's not like an external thing like the Bluetooth stereo or something like that. I can't just like set my phone down and listen to music. You know what I mean?
The cup holder, dude.
Yeah, but it's just with the Jeep, it's not loud enough to get meaningful sound.
Okay.
And with the Jeep itself is so like, even with the hard top, it's like the wind sound and everything because it's just thin plastic. And so I was listening to. So that stopped me from listening to music, but I was like, that shouldn't stop me from listening to like a podcast where I'm just listening to somebody talk. Audio quality doesn't really matter that much. And so I've been listening to the Bill Burr podcast, and because it's just easy to listen to, makes me laugh. Easy way to kill time on the way home from work when it takes me a half hour to get home. So I had it sitting on my dashboard. I'm listening to it and I'm sitting in traffic but then anytime I would go or move, it would like slide down the dashboard. And I was like, so I'm trying to figure out this like situation. Like, how can I hear this? And then I was like, I have my winter jacket on. So I just stuck it in my hood.
Oh shit.
So it was like literally the speaker was right next to my ear and it was the perfect volume. And it sits there and it doesn't move when I turn my head. It doesn't move when I turn the car. And I was like, this is how I'm listening to podcasts now. I'm putting my phone in my hood.
Have you
It's so stupid.
That is fucking wild.
It's so stupid.
You ever see the people that have like a head wrap on or something and they just tuck their phone in? And I'm like,
it's basically the same idea.
Yeah, I'm like, you've never heard of Bluetooth headphones? Like I have three sets.
Yeah, but I don't want to put headphones in my ears in the car.
Why?
I don't know. It just.
If they're good headphones, they also allow what's called pass-through, which is where they amplify outside sounds and mix it in with your sound, so you actually can hear your whole surroundings.
Yeah, well, you always have good technological answers to my rudimentary problems.
That's because I believe firmly in the work smarter, not harder.
How was that not smart, what I did? I put it in my hood. It was not a hard solution.
So how do you quickly get that non-distractedly? I don't think that's a word, but you know what I'm saying. If a call comes in. Oh, it's like a fucking samurai sword. You just whoosh. Yeah. All right. Fine. I'll have. King. What the fuck was that?
That was like old Shaolin. That was like that was on Wu-Tang records.
Yeah.
King. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now.
That was stupid.
I don't know what the fuck I thought. I thought maybe you were fencing or something. I thought some kind of white shit. You went the other way.
Oh man.
What I want to know is, and I'll explain why I'm thinking this in a minute, but I want to, speaking of like music and shit, how do these kid jingles that seemingly don't originate from anywhere, but they make it all the way across the world? And I'll give you two examples. I want to know how the fuck these things happen. I'm going to start a sentence and I just want to know if you know the next line. I farted. It tickled.
Oh, I can't say it right off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking about.
My butt cheeks wiggled.
There it is.
Okay. I had to Google it one day. I Googled it. I was like, what is this? What the fuck is he singing over and over? And I found this entire Reddit thread that was like, hey, my kid sings this song. Does anyone know what this is? And it's these parents from all over the US and all over the world. They're like, no, I haven't been able to find where that originated. And it drives me nuts because I'm like, I just want to know the source of this.
Yeah.
But it's made it all over the world somehow. And it reminds me of like, you know, when people sing like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and they add in all the other shit, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Like a light bulb.
That's what I'm saying. Where the fuck does that shit come from?
No,
like, how does that?
That is like the textbook definition of what a meme is. I mean, when we talked about this once on an early podcast, because I blew your mind because I knew the origin of the word meme, and because it was coined by Richard Dawkins, the famous atheist and social scientist, and he in one of his books was talking about this idea of something that spreads virally through the cultural zeitgeist, like through culture in such a strong way. And he called those memes, like that's what he called them, and he called it mimetic culture. And so, I mean, those kind of things that's like the original, that's the same thing that we're passing around fucking pictures on Instagram. It's the same exact thing. It's just somebody says something and it sticks. Yeah. You know.
Are you trying to think of another one?
Yeah. Like all the old parodies of like the Barney "I Love You" song.
Oh yeah.
You know, my kids didn't watch Barney, but they know all that shit. Like it's so weird.
But see, I actually get it. Okay, the Barney one's a good example because that's kind of like pre a lot of social media.
Yeah, it was the mid-90s.
Yeah, it was. But like I kind of understand it nowadays. I feel like kids learn so much shit from fucking YouTube and shit like that. Very nice. But like that's the ones that get me are the old ones that like this is pre-social media. Another one is like let me think. Oh, the Happy Birthday song where like they'll end it with
cha
cha cha ooh la la. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like
so
where how they're fucking passing this shit around, but that shit it fascinates me. But I guess you're right. It really is kind of just memes. But speaking of social media, did you actually catch that Instagram is about to get on board with hiding likes and stuff?
Yeah. I think that this is I shouldn't have opened this.
No, it's just going for it. Well, it's also the one that was frozen, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like 2/3 frozen, but like the carbonation part of it is like coming out and like slowly seeping.
Yeah.
It's like
it's forcing you to drink it. Drink me, Colin. Drink me.
But what was the question you asked me?
I was just there, Jesus. I was saying, did you see that Instagram was going to start hiding likes?
Oh yeah. I think that it poses a significant risk to their profit margin as far as I think a lot of people are in it for the likes. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like influencers? I mean, influencers, like literally, that's their whole shtick is look at all these people that like my shit. I want to get paid money.
But just culturally, I think that like we have that sort of thing, getting a lot of likes. It's in a sense is a social score. You know what I mean? So
I mean, it's like remember the one where you said, "Oh, I got like 20 or 30 retweets." So
you know,
it's a unit of measurement.
One of my close friends went viral the other day. I'll explain that in a minute.
Okay.
I'm getting beer on this. My bad.
It's okay. It truly is okay.
No, I think that it'll be bad for business for them. But I think it's good for culture. I think it's
good for fucking people's mental health for sure. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Like holy shit.
Like Instagram is great. I look at Instagram as in the exact same way as I look at like if we go to our parents' house and they bring out photo albums. It is a documentation of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Instagram is great. I don't like that it's owned by Facebook, but whatever. But you know, I go to my mom's house and I look at a photo album, and it's not like somebody like every person who's ever looked at the photo like drew a heart on it. You know what I mean? Like, like who gives a shit? Like, all it is all likes do is feed into our culture's obsession with easy things, hollow things that boost our self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So not actual self-esteem boosters, but hollow imitations of self-esteem boosters. So yeah, fuck it. Get rid of likes. Get rid of them. I thought, you know, get rid of them on every platform. Fuck like. Who gives a shit?
Well, I think that is the goal. I've heard about this for fucking years now. Like other platforms wanting to do this, but I think it's just now starting to actually become a reality. Like people are getting closer to it. You
know, I think about it from you know, with my band, like I'll post a show, I'll post a flyer or something like that. And it's like I don't even care about who comes to the show. It's like, did this get traction? Did enough people see it?
Mm-hmm.
And then Facebook shows things to people based on how many likes you get. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, it democratizes things in a way that's really nice. But I think in general, hiding likes makes a lot of sense just for people's, like you said, just for their brains, just for their hearts, you know, like just to get out of this mode of always having to think about what people think about you.
Yeah, it's definitely shitty. And I see it even with like the podcast. Like I'll post something and you see the reach, which is like, or the impressions or whatever, which is like the number of people that saw it. And then you see the likes and you're like, wow, okay, so 1.2% of the people that saw this felt the need to like it. And it's like, it's almost like getting instant feedback. It's like, you feel like that's what they feel about you. You're easily passed over.
You got to really think about it. Like, what is it about it that like, why do I have to, if I'm posting something, say an episode of the podcast or saying a flyer for a show or a YouTube video I saw of a music video, a new music video that's cool. Like
Odd Squad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why does it matter? Like, why do I expect it to get liked? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't it just like, why can't I just talk to that person the next day and be like, hey, did you see that video I posted? And like, yeah, dude, that was hilarious. Like, why? Like, all it is this weird, it's this weird hollow affirmation, and that it's unnecessary. And all it does is aids in the cultural destruction of self-esteem.
Yeah, it's that was deep.
Heavy.
That was deep as fuck. It reminds me of like the MySpace days when people used to like pay to get plays on MySpace.
Dude.
I'm like, you'd rather people come to your page and see that your song has 1 million plays, but really only like 45 people listen to it, and then you bought 1 million likes. Like that's okay. Like you're cool with that.
And dude, and that, you know, when it comes to the band stuff, it's the same way. It's like, oh, did you check out this band? Check out this band. They have 20,000 Facebook fans. It's like, who gives a shit?
I'm like, yeah, so does Disturbed. It doesn't mean I'm gonna like this shit.
Like, who gives a shit? Like, and I find myself, yes, obviously you reach more people when you have likes, but you know, I don't play music for anybody but myself. I write music that I want to hear. It's music that I wish existed. And if other people like it, that's awesome. But like, oh man, if I hung my feeling of artistic success, artistic or
validation of
sociological success on the validation of getting likes or fans, fuck, man, I would be a sad person.
Well, it's the same thing I try to tell Hayden, because Hayden's doing the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And he got really hung up on, he's like, he set goals for himself, right? He's like, oh, I want to get this many subscribers by this date. And I was like, for what? He was like, well, that's what I want to get. And I was like, I know, but is that going to make it more fun? Well, no. Okay. So what does 25 subscribers by X date, what does that do for you? Anything? He's like, no. I'm like, then why are you worried about getting the subscribers? Like, you should be worried about how can you have more fun with this? You know, that's the whole thing. So
that's the thing, is if you're doing quality stuff, like, people get it.
Yeah.
Like, people automatically latch on. That's the way memes work.
Yeah.
Is the things that go viral because they resonate, not because they got a lot of likes. The likes don't come first. You know, the resonation comes first. The resonance comes first. So this funny, my friend, he is a composer and songwriter. He lives in LA. He does does some music for movie trailers, does a lot of music for video games, and one of the best musicians I've ever met in my life. It's incredible. The dude just he just touches an instrument and like good music comes out of it. Pretty music comes out of it. He did the soundtrack for this game, Outer Wilds, that's just came out. It's been out on Xbox for about 6 or 8 months. It just came out on PS4 and came out on PC. And it's a really cool space exploration game that's really satisfying, but his soundtrack is amazing. The soundtrack, not this kind of person, but I would listen to the soundtrack without playing the game because it's just really good and emotional post-rock kind of thing. And anyway, he's up for an award at some thing for best video game soundtrack or something like that. He's nominated up against 5 or 6 other people at some event. It's sponsored by Subway, and Subway posted about it, and he retweeted it, and he said, "I got fired from Subway when I was 19 because they said I'd made sandwiches too slow. Please vote for my soundtrack in this so I can prove my worth to them." And like Subway responded and said, "Sometimes it just takes more time, Andrew."
Oh shit.
And like all of a sudden it was like fucking 20,000 likes and like 3,500, 4,000 retweets. I mean, the thing went wild. Somebody wrote an article about like how this music producer took on Subway or some stupid shit like that. So funny, man. It's like one of my good friends. He's just like texting me like, "Dude, this tweet went viral."
Do you remember a few years back when this was all over like TMZ and stuff, where a white rapper from Bellefontaine, Ohio ran up to Kanye West? And it was like, okay, so it was a guy named Cameron Gray.
Okay.
He's a rapper from here, basically. Used to hang out with him all the time. He moved out to California, and he got word of like where Kanye was going to be leaving an award show or after party or something, and loaded up a flash drive with like all his shit, like he was fairly successful as like a mixtape artist and stuff like that. And it just so happened that TMZ captured it, where he caught Kanye and he's like, "Hey, Kanye, like, let me freestyle for you. Like, just take my music." And like, they captured the whole moment, and Kanye stops, and Justin Bieber's there, and like, he gets to rap like on TMZ basically for Kanye. Kanye takes the flash drive, and Kanye hit him up later, put him in the studio with his producer. So it kind of worked. And then he's actually, I think he's like making beats and stuff now.
Crazy.
But it was just fucking crazy because like I used to check TMZ and shit like that all the time. Yeah. And to log on and all of a sudden it's your dude. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, shit's wild.
Let's talk about Kanye for a sec because so that Jesus is King record came out and everybody, he did the whole MAGA thing last year, and then the Jesus is King record came out and he found God, even though God's always been a part of his lyrics and all this stuff, and put out this record that is honestly like a decent album, but is just like very strangely Christian. And but then he like took it to the next level, dude, and he was like preaching at Joel Osteen's church. At Lakewood Church, Joel Osteen. Yeah. And like, I watched a video last night of him like DJing some fucking house music with Joel Osteen's band, and it's got me feeling convinced. And I'm not convinced actually, but it's got me wondering, is this just like a thing? Is this a ruse? Is this like when Joaquin Phoenix pretended to not be an actor anymore so he could make that documentary about becoming a rapper? You know, where it was all just bullshit to do a thing. Like, is Kanye fucking with us here?
I don't know.
Because it to me, it's one thing to find God. It's one thing to find prosperity gospel. You know, it's one thing to do all that stuff, but to like immerse yourself so deep into like shitty, fake white Christian culture, it's just so wild to me.
He is notorious though for just, he's 0 to 100 in like fucking everything. And it's like when you're Kanye West, like, you have time, you have money, you have resource, you have backing in pretty much any field. If you want to do something, you're going to do it. It's
the same thing. It's honestly the same way I feel about the president of the United States, where it's just like, is there anybody around him? And that's part of being a narcissist, is that you don't listen to other people. Yeah. But like, is there anybody around him that's just like, dude, are you looking at how this looks?
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that.
Like, tone it down. Yeah. Like, put out a Christian record. That's fine. Like, that's fine. Find God. Plenty of artists find God. Bob Dylan found God and put out Christian records. You know, like, but like, don't fucking, like, he's doing it in such a way that it makes it look like a joke.
Well, he also has a history of doing things. That I think that's what it is. It's the history. Like, people don't forget. I saw I saw a tweet where Trump was like promoting his son's book or something. Was it a book? And then somebody replied to it and said, "Let me get this straight. Like, you are calling for an investigation and saying Biden's son
making money
off presidency, but you from your official Twitter and office are tweeting to buy your
any
son's book?"
person with a quarter of a brain understands that this is not about corruption.
No shit.
Because if he cared about corruption, what about Ivanka Trump and all of her trademarks she's getting from the Chinese government? Major economic enemy of ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give me a fucking break. Like, everybody knows that it's just political. But no, speaking of Junior's stupid book Triggered, which is hilarious because he's been getting shouted down at book signings by conservatives, which is just so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Alt-writers, but still. But you know, it came up #1 on the New York Times bestseller list or whatever, but that's got the little cross asterisk next to it, you know, the one that looks like a cross. And when that shows up next to it, the fine print is that it's only here because of bulk sales. And then a couple days later, some news, and that happens. That's normal.
Yeah.
People buy their way onto the New York Times bestseller list all the time, but then you see that a couple weeks later, some journalist digs up the fact that the Republican National Committee spent almost $100,000 on his fucking book.
You know, and this just could be my ignorance.
Man, these fucking grifters, these fucking snake oil salesmen. Jesus.
This could be just my ignorance to the fact, but what does it really take to be a bestseller? I feel like everybody that comes out with a book is like a bestseller.
It's just like Billboard charts. You just got to sell a bunch. But the difference is it is common practice in the book industry to do bulk sales that buy your way onto the list. Like, I don't think I could tell you right now, I'm not a person who's really into reading long form. I'm not an authority on literature or nonfiction books.
160 characters or less.
I could tell you right now without even batting an eye. His book is, I guarantee, a pile of shit. I guarantee it's terrible to read.
You think he really did anything? Like people who are authors rather have ghostwriters.
Oh yeah, it's totally ghostwriting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. So many Trump guys are like, well, it's just, you know, you talk about like, why is he bending over backwards for fucking North Korea? Like, well, it's all part of the art of the deal. He had that book, The Art of the Deal. And it's like, hey, motherfucker, it says Tony Schwartz on the front. He didn't write that shit. And Tony Schwartz came out and said, I wrote the whole thing. He had nothing to do with it. And he's an idiot. You know, like it's a very successful grift. They have pulled the wool over 35% of America's eyes.
Are there any have you ever taken part in any grifts?
No.
I got a fucking firm hustle from my youth.
Go.
I got a firm ass hustle. Like, I want everybody out there to take note of this shit. Go to any fast food restaurant, anyone, and locate a receipt in any form. And just go in and say, I'm sorry, it seems that you've forgotten this item. And I apologize, and they just give you that item. Doesn't matter what it is.
Kids at home, take notes.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
That is the fucking hustle. You know, I was an asshole when I was a kid. Like, we used to leave every morning and go skate downtown, skate to campus, you know, be out all night, all day. We ate a lot of fast food because when you're out and about, like, we had these different skate spots that we would skate at different times of day because of their proximity to food, and we knew we'd be hungry about that time. So there's a place on campus called White Rails. We used to always skate. It's right across the street from McDonald's. We pulled that there so many times. Just find a receipt. You know, people eat and have their tray and it has the receipt on it, and then they go and throw the shit away, and you just look and you're like, whoop, get that receipt. Go get that double cheeseburger. One thing we used to do though, this is unrelated to the grift. This is just me and fast food and being a dick. Did you ever used to like go inside and they had the salt and pepper shakers and you spin the coin? No. I wanted to stop there just to see if you could finish it. So you were a better person than me. So what we used to do is you spin a coin and then you slam the salt or pepper shaker down on it and it breaks the bottom. And then you just leave it there. Like, you know that it broke the bottom. And that way when somebody picks it up, all the salt or pepper just fucking flies out the bottom.
Like those old school ones that are like peach and
they were
black.
like, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
Why? Why is that awful?
Because then somebody else got to clean that shit up. As a kid, yeah, it's hilarious. But as an adult, it's like...
Still hilarious. Still funny as fuck. I saw someone bitching the other day about, you know how like a lot of the fast food restaurants, and we've briefly talked about this before, they're installing kiosks and things like that. And like you walk in and self-order, grab a number, sit down, the whole thing. People were bitching about that. And I'm like, look, this is the unfortunate thing that happens when you guys bitch and bitch and bitch and say that you need $15 or more an hour to do this job. This is not a career. Like, I am a firm believer that fast food is not a career. If you were at this thing for multiple years and you're not moving up to at least authority or above, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. That's like a you problem.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. And I do think that the kiosks are a good solve for a problem that is just like, it's like, well, that's going to take jobs away. But it's like, well, these are jobs that like people shouldn't be working anyway because it's terrible. But when it comes to the minimum wage thing and all that, I agree with you for the most part, except for, we do as a culture have, what they call economic prisons, this 6-block radius that a lot of people don't leave for their whole life. And where there aren't that many jobs, and or if you're a black man in America, there's a good chance that you've got, something stupid on your record that keeps you from getting a better job. And unfortunately, because of the way our criminal justice system works, so I do think that we need to treat our fast food workers better. I do think that we need to pay our minimum wage earners more. That being said, I do understand the perspective of, well, don't look at this as the end all be all. Move beyond this. I get that.
Yeah, I think my perspective on it is there are certain jobs which I've always looked at as entry-level jobs or jobs that you hold when you're going to college. Starter jobs, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's one of them. That being said, I'm not saying that there's other careers out there that shouldn't pay more. I think more than anything, we need to be more loose with the fact that, like, somebody with a felony on their record can't get X, Y, and Z job. It's like we either believe in rehabilitation
or you don't.
Right? And I think
agree.
as a culture, that's
Totally
a problem
agree.
we have. And we've talked about Hot Chicken Takeover before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like, he only hires people. I say he. Is it a he owner? I don't.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
a he. He only hires folks with, let's call it, non-typical resumes, right? Great thing. Fantastic.
You know what?
More people should do that.
His staff is fucking awesome too.
Yeah, I've never fucking had a problem.
No, and yeah. So I get the argument. I will say though that it's somebody, I saw a tweet about this the other day because everyone's doing the 2019 thing.
Not me.
But it is, somebody jokingly did, well, here's the only 2019 we need to know. 2009 minimum wage was $7.25 and 2019 minimum wage is $7.25. That is a problem. Does it need to be 15? I don't know. I'm not an economist. I don't know what that looks like on the American taxpayer. And
terrible.
But the minimum wage should rise along with the inflation in culture.
I agree. But in order to do that, you would also have to raise a lot of non-minimum wage things. Like, everything has to go up.
That's
right?
fine.
And yes, cost of living goes up, and that has to happen.
Do it.
The problem is that we have a lot of new markets we never had before. And some of the newer markets, yeah, they keep up with that. Some of the older markets don't. It's because they're just being phased out. And again, somebody who, dude, I sound like a cynical dick, but somebody who pushes buttons and can't fucking remember to give me a straw, like, I don't want you to have $15.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's a tricky conversation because I think that there's a lot of, it's not black and white at all. It's actually a ton of gray area.
Absolutely.
Because I go to the McDonald's at the corner of Grant and Maine, and which is quite the McDonald's, I'll tell you that. But there's people there that like, I've been working downtown for over 10 years now, and there's people there that have worked at that McDonald's the whole time that are, I remember them being front desk people, and now they're fucking managers, and that's awesome. Like,
Yeah, that's
do it.
fantastic.
Do the fucking thing. And I want to respect that, and I want people to make what they deserve to be made, especially at that McDonald's, because they deal with a lot of fucking crazy shit at that McDonald's. But yeah, no, I think it's just like so many things in our culture. The way we do things now is it's either this or this. And like 90% of the issues in our culture, not 90%, like a good chunk of half the issues in our culture, it's not this or this. It's this or this and all of this in the middle. You know, like let's just, okay, if a good chunk of the electorate doesn't want $15 an hour, can we at least agree on maybe it should be like 11, you know, or something like, you know what I mean? Like, can we try to figure this shit out instead of just saying, no, it's stay 725. It's stay 725, you know, or it's 15 or nothing. You know, it's like, can we just
that's my problem is that
fucking talk about it?
There's this fight for 15 and I don't disagree that something probably needs to change, especially with, again, we've talked about,
I've exhausted almost all the liquid.
Cost of living, as cost of living goes up and just inflation in general, like everything needs to raise to accommodate that. I don't dispute that. My argument is from the immediate jump to 15.
No, sure.
I think that's my problem. Let's get off this heavy conversation. Jesus, we went into a dark place. We're not laughing. Let me see what I got. I'm sure.
Was there any other weird, vague things I put on the list?
I'm sure there's something on here. No. It actually looks like we got most of your stuff here, Colin. We got all of it. I got one that's we can talk about. Significant others and farting. Because I don't know about you, but when I was first getting into the dating game, you know, as a, let's call it like 17, 18-year-old kid, I would hold farts. I wasn't farting. Not happening.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Little bitch.
Well, that's the problem. The first time I farted in front of a serious girlfriend was like fucking 2.5 or 3 years into a, you know how weird that is to fart in front of somebody that you've been like dating?
Nope.
Like
I don't.
Super weird.
I don't know how weird it is.
I committed the next time. I'm like, dude, I'm farting on people like day one. Is that what you did to Sierra?
Yeah.
You let her have it day
every
one?
Every person I've ever dated. Everybody who's ever known me knows that I'll tear ass and don't give a fuck about it.
You just day one?
Yeah.
Man, so you
think the only
you don't know
place-
what it's like for the fart to go back in your butt.
The only place that I don't fucking tear ass is work. Probably.
Dude, I fucking... One, on our 12-minute podcast, it started by me fucking burning one into this chair. And it was just like, it was just second nature. Like, this room, man, I'm okay with farting in this room, I guess.
This is a band room. And
this is a band room.
Anything. I mean, Mastodon used to call their van the fart box before they had a bus. Bands of notoriously gross people.
This is so... I threw this on the board because my wife was sitting the other day and we were talking about having to fart and like you're holding your fart, you're in a position where you can't fart and you're holding your fart so long that your stomach starts gurgling. And she said, she was like, yeah, it's kind of like your fart goes back in and just you fart in your stomach. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad description. Because your stomach gets that little bubble. You get the bubble guts.
I get it. I understand why people want to like impress somebody, but it's just like, who gives a shit?
Colin, you're just the most real.
The most real.
You're the fucking most real.
Like, who gives a shit? It's just like, we all do it. I never understood like why like guys are so grossed out by like hot girls farting. Like, who gives a fuck? It's a part of being a human.
Well, some guys think that's a turn on.
Well, that's also true. But
dude, shout out to fucking Nick Probstool. So a long time ago, he showed me the weirdest video, and it's never left my mind. It's called Cake Farts.
Does he listen to this podcast? He should. I feel like he would like it.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's called Cake Farts, and it's like women that like take cakes, they bake cakes, and they put them on like, the island or something, and then they crawl up on it, and they start farting on it. It's the weirdest fucking thing. He showed me this fucking
I
video.
bet some people get off on that. In a
Oh,
weird
I'm
way.
sure. I'm
Oh.
sure there's like super weirdos out there that
Oof.
are all about cake farts. It's obviously a niche thing. It has a fucking. There's somebody made a video for it, right? There's weird shit going on. But yeah, for whatever reason, that has never left my mind. I whenever I'm thinking about the weirdest shit, I'm like, cake farts.
That's really funny. No, yeah, I got no issue. I think farts are hilarious. I think that it doesn't matter if you're 8 or 80. Farts are always funny. You know, anything poop, farts, pee, and it's all funny. It's all just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story. I was going to tell this last week and I totally forgot. I didn't forget because we just only had 12 minutes to talk about things.
Yeah.
But I took Melvin to work.
That's one of your Bostons,
my
right?
Boston Terrier.
Yeah.
I took one of my Bostons. I only have one. I have two dogs. One is a Boston.
I thought I don't know. Why did I think you had 3 dogs?
We have 2. Sierra.
Maybe
really,
I was counting the dog that I planned on giving you.
Sierra
someday.
really wants another Boston, so
You really want ours.
That's the deal. But I brought him to work with me, and I was worried about it. Like I've brought Angus to work with me before because he's good. He just lays down like a lazy asshole next to me all day. Melvin, I was worried because he tends to mark stuff to a certain dominance, and I was like, oh, he's just gonna walk around and mark everyone's computer bags and whatever. He was actually really good. He didn't mark anything until 30 seconds before I left, and he marked a support beam right in front of my boss's desk, but whatever. But anyway, at one point, it was hilarious because he doesn't he's not the one that likes me that much of the two. I mean, he likes me, but Angus is my dog. Melvin is Sierra's dog.
That's my dog.
And where my dog's at? Right here, dog. Have you heard that song? The A$AP Rocky song that came out last year?
No, but when you said that, I just immediately thought DMX.
No, this A$AP Rocky comes out. The chorus is "Where my dog's at? Right here, dog. Where my dog's at?" Anyway, but I had to take a shit, and I was like, "Hey," talking to my coworker, I was like, "Can you hang out with him for a minute so I can use the restroom?" And we got those glass doors that go into like our main area, the main working area. Those glass doors.
I'm familiar with those.
So I go to the bathroom, and he follows me to the glass doors. And I was like, oh shit, he's not letting somebody take care of him. Like I have to be in sight. And I just knew, I was like, he's going to whine and I don't want to deal with, he's going to whine, he's going to bark, he's going to scratch at the door.
Yeah.
So I just took him with me and I went into the bathroom at work has 2 stalls, a regular one and a handicap one. Took him in the handicap one so he had room to sit in the corner. Okay. Taking a shit and he's sitting there in the corner, he's being quiet. A couple of people come and go, he doesn't do anything, Anyway, so I'm washing my hands. This is so funny. I'm washing my hands and I'm like, come on, buddy. And instead of coming out of the stall and around, he walks through the other one where someone's taking a shit from the other company on our floor. I have no idea who it is. And he walks through and the guy he's like, oh, what? And I'm like, oh God, dude, I'm so sorry. And he goes, no, this is a pleasant surprise.
That's fucking crazy.
It's so funny, man.
People always want me to bring my dog in. I work at obviously a more traditional office building. People always want me to bring my dog in, and I'm just afraid my dog. She's so fucking annoying. So I have one good dog, and that's the pit boxer.
Yeah, you can't take a dog to work until they're chill.
I do not think this dog will ever be chill. And
you'll get there.
She fucking hates me too. She loves me but hates me. Like if it's nighttime and she is trying to take a nap, all the way good. Cuddles up, will get in any crevice, and just loves me all night. But if I just walk into a room too fast, she will bark, and I'm not fucking kidding. She'll bark for 30 minutes straight. I've never wanted to punt a dog so bad than I want to punt this dog 3 to 4 times a day.
Got to be meaner.
Trust me, no, I don't. Trust me, no, I don't. This dog is.
You gotta get those.
On my last
you
notes.
gotta get. I learned this from my friend Ben. He was kind of mean to his dog, but
I wish you could see the interaction with the dog. You would know that's not the case.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm not. But what I learned from my friend Ben, and because his dog Kaya is so well behaved and is so kind, he was kind of mean to her. I watched people be uncomfortable in his presence before while he was scolding his dog. I don't take it this far, but you know, I learned from him is, you know, push on those key words. So and make it a thing that you only use when you're super frustrated. So and I ripped his from him, and it's excuse me. So if I tell Angus or Melvin, they both listen to it. If they're barking or doing something they're not supposed to do, I'll say once, I'll be like, leave it or stop what you're doing. Angus, Melvin, you know, call them. If they, I'll do it one more time, and the third time if they don't, I'll go, excuse me, dude. Every time, every time because it's a different word that's got a different anger, and they hear it and they go, oh, there he is, you know, and
dude, I flex on my dog, and my dog will just like, my dog, I can punk people, I can't punk my dog. Like she is just not grateful to be alive. She should like me so much more. She should be so much more grateful.
She's not even a year old though, right?
I don't give a fuck. She's not gonna make it a year if she keeps fucking with me.
Yeah, you'll get there,
dude. I'm gonna chop that dog with just all the force. I'm gonna give that dog a fucking karate chop. So real quick, I want to touch on this before we get out of here because we killed it.
We got to be over an hour
and a half.
Are you serious?
Hour and a half.
Man, we went.
Yeah, we made it this time.
We're making up for that shit.
Yep. So you started talking about that A$AP Rocky song, which reminded me of DMX, which reminded me, I recently heard, did you know DMX used to rob people with his dog? He used to use his dog, his like pit bull, and use it as a weapon to rob people. That is so tight.
That's crazy.
That's fucking wild. He's a different type of fucking dude. That is a different type of dude.
I remember reading an article with A$AP Rocky where, you know, the whole A$AP mob's from Harlem, where DMX is from, and they, you know, so they grew up worshiping that guy. But you know, he hit real hard times. You know, when he was in and out of jail, went bankrupt, hit rock bottom, all that shit. He said that like as a kid, DMX was like at the height of his popularity, and they would just see him like walking his dog around the neighborhood. Just in the hood.
He never. He's one of those people that just never adjusted to being famous.
No, man, he was just
because he was just him all the time.
Fucking DMX.
Yeah, I love. There's an old Jadakiss song called "Why." Do you remember that song? Man, you'll have to listen to it. Sure. There's a line in it where he says, basically the premise of the song is every line says, "Why did this happen? Why did this? Why is this?" Two of the lines you'll love. One, he says, "Why did Bush knock down the towers?" So that's one line that always gets a reaction. And the other is he talks about, it's a line about DMX. It's like, remember when DMX got popped for like carjacking or something? Or maybe stealing a motorcycle or something? He says like,
stop!
What? No, he says, why did D, like, what the fuck does he say? He says, why didn't he pull out his Ferrari? Why did he take that bike? Like, he's asking all these questions.
Nice.
You'll have to listen to it. It's actually one of my favorite Jadakiss songs of all time, actually. I said actually 3 times.
Speaking of rap, real quick, they just announced officially next Friday, Black Friday, the Griselda collab record's coming out. Dude, WWCD.
How the fuck? I don't understand.
Like the one on Shady, that's the whole crew.
Yeah.
Comes out next Friday.
I don't understand how you... I don't even hear about this shit sometimes. Like, you are like my exclusive plug to new music.
It's the Twitter, dog.
The Twitter?
The Twitter.
You follow all them on the Twitter?
I follow, I follow all 3 of them, actually.
You should follow them on...
and I follow Gun on Instagram.
Heckin Cool Dads Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I should.
If that happened, I might get some fucking alerts.
But yeah, no,
they
officially announced this week that record comes out next Friday, so that's super sweet.
That is super sweet. I think with that, we're going to wrap up. Episode 33 is finally fucking in the books. I'm feeling good about that.